Every now and then, life brings us to a threshold, a moment where we can choose to remain who we've been or step more fully into who we truly are. Collectively, we are entering into one of these threshold moments now as the annual rising of the brilliant star Sirius leads us into one of the most powerful new moons of the year, a Leo new moon accompanied by a total solar eclipse. Today, I'm sharing how these extraordinary celestial events weave together and how you can work with the astrology of the new moon eclipse to cross through this threshold with clarity, courage, and purpose. Since ancient times, the annual heliacal rising of the star Sirius has marked the beginning of a new cycle of renewal and possibilities. Today, this seasonal return in Leo season is widely recognized as the Lion's Gate portal, an invitation to awaken, realign, and begin again. In these modern times, the Lion's Gate portal is celebrated on August 8th, which is the height of Leo season. Each year, this 8-8 portal has a little bit of a different energy connected to it based on the year that it's happening in, numerology-wise. And so when I calculated 8-8 for 2026, it actually does come out to a number 8. And the number 8 in numerology is connected to ambition, power, mastery, leadership, success, manifestation, and karmic balance. So these are the energies that are leading us into the new moon solar eclipse and bringing with it like an extra ignition of activating energies. The astrology around the new moon eclipse is rich, it's expansive, it's radiant, it's supportive, it's positive, and it's a unique opportunity for you to fully claim and step into and radiate your full radiance. So the moon is conjunct the sun, as is the case with every new moon, in the sign of Leo at 20 degrees. I'm going to pause here and talk about this degree point itself because this is the degree in which the total solar eclipse is also happening. This degree point in the tarot is connected to the card called the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands, as it relates to this eclipse energy, invites us to pivot our warrior energy away from defending the past and to instead channel it in a way that clears the path for your future. The battle with your past is over. In fact, this solar eclipse is a South Node eclipse because it's connecting with the South Node. The South Node just recently went into Leo itself, and the South Node is connected to releasing and letting go. It can represent karmic completion, things that are connected to your past. And in Leo, what we're being encouraged to let go of is anything that has stood in our way of being our full radiant self. Leo, again, is courageousness, it's leadership, it's strength, it's passion, it's creative expression and exuberance. So this is a time where collectively the energy is that we are all collectively having a little igniting or spark of renewed enthusiasm within us, but it's requiring us to let go of wherever it is that we've been stuck in the past and wherever it is that we've been playing small. The new moon is always about new beginnings, but in this case, connected to the solar eclipse and being a South Node eclipse, there's something that we're holding on to that we need to release and let go of in order to make room for the new, in order to make room for whatever's next for yourself on your path, and choosing in alignment with what your highest, most exuberant sense or vision or idea of your path is the thing right now. So take a moment to feel into how that is showing up for you. And if you have your birth chart, your astrological natal chart that you can follow along with me here, great. But if not, that's okay, because I'm going to guide us all through it. If you do have your chart, what you want to do is take a look at where the Leo house is, the Leo slice of the pie is in your chart, because this is where you are having a personal activation of radiance and brilliance. You are ready to shine your light in regard to the themes that are connected to the Leo house of your chart. Not only are you ready to shine your light there, you're ready to claim success. You're ready to claim mastery. Success that comes through owning your mastery is very much a part of the themes here. Now, we also have a conjunction happening in Leo between Mercury and Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, development, good fortune, and opportunity. It just recently went into Leo last month, sometime in July, and it's going to be there for a year. So this energy gives us a sustained boost of all of these themes that are connected to the Leo new moon and solar eclipse throughout the year ahead. And with Mercury in that conjunction with Jupiter, it's going to start with you really feeling into internally what is your deep truth. Mercury is the planet of communication, and that communication begins with yourself. I find myself often sharing this teaching with clients, like speaking your truth, which is what Mercury is connected to, begins with noticing what your inner truth is within yourself. So many of us unconsciously bury or ignore what our deep inner truth is. And so this might be a component that's happening for you, and just recognizing, oh, this is what I really feel a sense of excitement about, or this is what how I really want to steer the direction of my life in. So the way for you to gain the most out of this energy is gonna be through taking some time for introspection, which actually that is the best use of the solar eclipse energy, really any eclipse in general. Eclipses are not the time to set new intentions or do any type of ceremonial work. And that's because the light of the luminaries, either the sun or the moon, depending on what type of eclipse it is shadowed, it's dimmed. And so that's a disruption of energy, which in a way can be seen as a needed pattern interruption. But with that dimming of the usual light that we have on the earth with the eclipses, it also exposes us to cosmic energies that we're not typically exposed to. And that's why it's not the time to set intentions or do personal rituals or ceremonies, because things can go haywire then. But it is the time to go within. Have some self-reflection. So that is the practice during the hours leading up to and after the solar eclipse, which that's going to be happening at 10:35 or 6 Pacific time in the USA. So 1:35 Eastern time, and then make your adjustment for your location on the planet. But I personally would recommend, in regard to the new moon part and making your new moon intentions, do that like a day or two after the day of the new moon because of this eclipse, and spend some time in introspection, especially in what am I ready to release that's been inhibiting me from being in my full radiance in life, and where am I ready to muster up the courage, the strength, and the self-leadership to guide myself in those directions. Now, before we move on to the other aspects connected to this, I want to say that with that South Node recently moving into Leo, because the nodes move in retrograde, all of the planets, including the luminaries that are in Leo now, the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, and Mercury, are all going to be running into the South Node as the South Node is coming deeper into the sign of Leo, and the other planets are transiting out of the sign of Leo. So that's like activation, activation, activation. Not only is it supporting and helping you and be able to release wherever there's been resistance to being in your radiance, but it can also help you to reconnect with especially your creative soul gifts that you are feeling guided to share with the world right now. In 2 weeks away from the new moon, we will have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And that's going to be a North Node eclipse, which is further supporting what you're expanding into. I'm, of course, going to make another video about that, so you can learn more about that then. The main astrological aspect that is connected to the new moon itself is a trine aspect to the planet Saturn, which is in Aries. We've been working with these Saturn in Aries energies since the beginning of the year when Saturn and Neptune made a conjunction. So the trine aspect that is connecting Saturn with this new moon serves as like an integration period. It lends itself to like a grounding in the direction of manifestation based on wherever it has been that you've been already applying your focus and energy. Saturn in Aries is a strong opportunity to redefine the path that you're on, and with Neptune also in Aries, the redefining of the path that you're on in life right now wants to be aligned with what your inner sense of true calling is. So this is already a time of new beginning in and of itself, and that's because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and these are new cycles that are being initiated now with Saturn being in Aries for the first time in about 28 years. And Neptune stays in a sign for like 14 years. So it's been more than 100 years since Neptune has been in Aries as well. Both Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde now. So it's also an opportunity to reconsider and refine whatever your vision has been, your ideas have been for yourself in regard to whatever you want to step into in your life at this time. This is an opportunity to review, refine, redefine in preparation for moving forward into the next sphere of expression or manifestation. There really is some amazing, positive, activating energies connected to the new moon and solar eclipse. But there's some challenges, and I'm going to talk about those first. And these challenges are connected to the square aspects that are happening now. So Mars is in what's called a T-square to both Neptune and Venus. Mars is the planet that is associated with our will and our drive. It's how we take action in life. And Mars is associated with the archetype of the warrior. And right now, Mars is out of bounds. As I've shared before on my videos, when a planet is out of bounds, that means that it's outside of the usual orbit range that it stays within around the ecliptic plane. And when a planet goes out of bounds, it's like rogue energy. It intensifies or eccentrifies the energy of that planet. And Mars is going to be out of bounds until the end of August, August 28th. What we need to look out for here is pity parties, feeling sorry for yourself, sudden emotional outbursts, because Mars is in Cancer right now. When Mars is in Cancer, there's a higher rate of people being more trigger happy emotionally or emotionally reactive. There's a tendency to cast blame on other people for your experiences. And so we just need to be aware of those things and kind of reel it in a little bit. This reconnects with what I was saying about the Seven of Wands and pivoting your warrior energy away from defending the past and more constructively channeling it to create a path for your future. Now, the square to Neptune can be like a little wake-up call. It's likely with the square to Neptune that you're noticing where you yourself have not been really clear on what you want that path to your future to be. And so this reminds me of a spiritual teaching, and that is we can't find what we're not looking for. If you don't know what you want your future path to be, how is it going to manifest? You have to know with clarity and blend that clarity, whether it's a thought, an idea, a vision, a sense, a knowing. You have to know what it is that you are intending to go for in your life in order to ever have a possibility of that manifesting. And so the square aspect to Neptune is reminding you of that, like, hey, you got to know what you're looking for before it can show up. So this is also weeding through what may have been elusive or eluding or foggy, lack of clarity energy. This can also show you where you've maybe been living in illusionary or delusionary or fantasy realms and having a need to kind of anchor things down into reality. Mars is also squaring Venus, which is over in Libra right now. Venus in Libra in and of itself is a harmonizer. It wants peace. It wants balance. It wants beauty. The square between Venus in Libra and Mars in Cancer says, where do you need to unhook from codependent relationship patterns? Where do you need to renew your self-accountability regarding your emotional well-being? This is a realization of where maybe you're giving your power away to external circumstances and situations and allowing other people or situations or circumstances and what's going on with them or those things to overly influence your own emotional well-being. So ultimately, the power move is taking your power back from those situations. The squares show us where to notice where there can be turbulence in your life. In astrology, squares can serve as catalysts for integration, and that comes from bringing the shadow aspects of you to the light of awareness. So the shadow aspect of Venus in Libra can be people-pleasing, it can be codependency, it can be self-centeredness. Where are you recognizing where maybe you've been unconsciously tangled up in those things, but you can bring that into healing through bringing it to the light of awareness and allowing that integration. As it relates to Neptune, the shadow can also be not recognizing where you have the power to co-create. You are not a helpless being on the earth at the whim of whatever life dishes out to you. You are not a victim of life or a victim of your reality. Time to claim your power as a co-creator. You get to be the one that is steering the ship of your life, and you do that with clear intent. I know what my idea is. I know what my decision is. I know what I'm intending to go in the direction of, and I'm channeling the power of my life force energy, my will, my focus in that direction. Then we have all of these amazing supportive energies to be the container for that and help us to shift into whatever our desired outcomes are. So one, we have a grand trine between Pluto, Uranus, and Venus. So this is a grand air trine. The air element is illumination of awareness. With all of the challenges connected to the square energies I just talked about, the solution is leading into illuminated awareness. So illuminated awareness is not overthinking. It's actually turning down the inner chatter so you can shift into more of a clear, peaceful space of meditative awareness, where higher guidance can come in. The higher guidance of your own soul, your own higher self, cosmic consciousness, your spirit guides, whatever it is that you align with. We have to turn down our inner chatter so that we can really tune into hearing the transmissions of guidance and information that come through that higher expanded awareness. And that is what we have the opportunity of now, especially with Uranus and Gemini being in that trine to Venus in Libra. This is sudden and brilliant light bulbs of awareness coming in, and the trine to Venus in Libra can really anchor in people that are aligned with what your expanded awareness creative ideas are. This can be the beginning of forming long-term partnerships. It doesn't have to be romantic. However, the energy that is connected with the overall astrology right now is actually very conducive to new romance, which could turn into long-term partnerships. But the long-term partnerships that are coming in with Venus right now are also connected to partnerships that can be business-wise, friendships, things like that as well. And then Pluto, which also is out of bounds and retrograde. Now, Pluto is going to be out of bounds until about December 10th of this year. It's going to be going in and out of bounds for the next 10 years. And because Pluto is the planet of evolution, transformation, empowerment, Pluto out of bounds brings us into instinctual and unconventional internal processing, directly connected with the energies of Uranus in Gemini, which is revolutionary change, unexpected opportunities, revolutionary ideas for yourself, and then again, merging with people that can become long-term allies, friends, partners, lovers that support and maybe are co-creating creative projects with you. Then we have 2 kite formations. The one I'm going to talk about first is the one that has the apex or the liftoff point connected to Neptune. The kite formations show us where we have opportunity to come into elevated energies, vibrational expansion, momentum that is connected to a higher sense of ease and flow. And so this first kite that I'm looking at, the base of it is Venus, which we've already talked about. The liftoff point, which is in the opposition to Venus, is Neptune, and that's connected with the sextile between Pluto and Uranus, and that is what makes the kite formation. So all the things that I just talked about, with the liftoff point being Neptune, this again is pointing you in the direction of saying yes to an idea, an urge, a feeling, an inspiration that is truly meaningful for you. What would you really delight in giving yourself the space to explore, discover, or be involved with at this time in your life? Because you have the ability to create the space for achieving that for yourself. And then the other kite formation, the liftoff point is connected to Mercury and Jupiter. So again, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, it's in Leo. To me, this says, especially with Mercury there, Mercury is the self-expression part. Jupiter is the expanding opportunity part. So again, we have to have the courage to say yes to whatever your bigger picture creative inspirations are, and however it is that you feel guided to express or share those things. Now with this kite, the root of it is Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. So that instinctual, unconventional internal processing is likely what leads to more conscious awareness about what your creative ambitions are. Okay, so again, these are not things that we can think our way through. We have to spiritually sense those things and trust them enough to harness our internal leadership to guide us in those directions. Okay, we also still have that cradle or basket formation going on. So that's all still in the mix here, connected to Pluto in Aquarius making a sextile to Neptune in Aries, which is making a sextile to Uranus in Gemini and making a sextile to Jupiter in Leo. And then that's also conjunct with that Mercury also in the mix. Okay, so this is a containment of energy potential that is collectively and unfolding over the next few years. The collective energy is because this is largely connected to outer planets, which have more of a collective or generational influence. And the overall containment of energetic possibility is ultimately connected to evolution, higher awareness, like no turning back, coming out of, we're going to look back 10 years from now and see how we were like in the dark ages now, believe it or not, with all of the advancements of technologies that we've had. Okay, so this is no joke, collective evolution on every level. Now, on a personal level for you, this wants to be channeled into the Libra, the Scorpio, and the Sagittarius parts of your life. So look to see where that is. And the reason is that these are the houses that are opposite of where that basket formation is. And this is where you can consciously participate in how you're directing that energy into your own life. So Libra is conscious relationship, and the what type of conscious relationship is going to be connected to where it is in your chart. Scorpio is your personal transformation. evolution, healing, matters of healing and empowerment, because that's what Scorpio represents. And then Sagittarius is getting that higher vision for yourself. Sagittarius is the seeker of truth. It's very much interested in spiritual growth and awareness. So it's discovery, adventure, exploration in these things. And your higher vision is connected to really what is aligned with your soul and what is aligned with your own thirst and drive for your own development, your personal development in life. If you are a person who's still learning astrology and you're not sure how to look at your chart and how to learn these things for yourself, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to book a session with you. I do astrological consultations with clients every day. And so just reach out in the links below, and I'm happy to get you set up with a consultation. So there's something that for some of you, not everybody, but for some of you will be like the boom icing on the cake for all of these amazing energies that are happening, which I'm going to tell you next. But first, let me just take a moment to share that, this powerful energy of rising into your higher nature, your personal evolution, our collective expansion is the motivation behind my Life Alchemy workshop series that I've created that launches this August. The first workshop is on August 21st, and it's a journey through the Akashic Records with me. You can join this live with me in person at my healing center in Sedona, Soul Star Healing Arts. Or you can join us virtually through Zoom. There's still time to sign up. I'm going to put the links below. Some of the other workshop themes in my Life Alchemy series include awakening intuition, the Toltec art of dreaming, and shadow work. So it's one a month for the next several months, leading us into the end of the year. And so if you are interested in those, you can just check out the website, see all of the details. It's super easy to sign up online. Okay, so the icing on the cake of all of these energies that is going to be very impactful for some of you. You need to look to see if you have a planet or any type of celestial body, an asteroid, a point, anywhere between 0 and 9 degrees of Sagittarius. Because if you do, that is going to create a grand sextile formation in your particular chart, also sometimes called a Star of David formation. And if you have a planet or point in that range from 0 to 9 degrees Sagittarius, this means that this new moon solar eclipse is going to be a massive catalyst for positive change for you. And it's going to be connected to what the planet or celestial body or point is at that degree point of Sagittarius in your chart. I actually have this in my chart. My Venus is in Sagittarius at 3 degrees. So boom, I'm dialed in for new partnerships that are soulfully adventurous and fulfilling for me. And if you have this in your chart, share below how this is showing up for you and how you're recognizing this energy that's already rising up within you. Because these energies, although they're still coming into their exact dialed in expression, we're all already feeling them. These energies are not something that's happening just for a day or a week. Eclipse energies have an influence or effect of 6 months that leads us up to whatever the next eclipse season is going to be. But with these grander energies that are connected to the eclipse, really it's like a 2-year cycle of positive growth and expansion. And when you know about these energies, again, you can work with them more consciously and glide through this threshold moment of opportunity that we have, gliding through it with clarity, courage, purpose, and passion. Boom. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Love you all. Blessings. And I'm going to see you around the corner in the next video.